Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may happen to be. Welcome to this kind of pivotal change in society from a digital asset standpoint that we are all witnessing. Have quite a bit of content this morning for you all. First and foremost, stumbled across this document from the Financial Times talking about CBDCs or central bank digital currencies being set to transform how payments are made globally. Development of the digital currencies is gathering pace around the world. Now, this is from a writer who is a part of the London School of Economics and Political Science, as well as a senior advisor at Accenture. If you're not aware, Accenture has multiple ties within crypto and blockchain, one of which is Ripple. They are a RippleNet integrator within a lot of these financial institutions, banks, etc. And he's also advised several CBDC projects. I'm not going to read this entire thing because I've got, as you can maybe able to see up here, tons of tabs open that I want to get through today. But I will link this for you guys. This does give kind of a great overview about kind of this shift, the hesitancy in the late 19th century about introducing paper banknotes on top of gold and silver coins and kind of where we're at right now. How many central banks globally are really kind of starting to adopt central bank digital currency initiatives, how many have already rolled out proof of concepts, and if you've been paying attention, the author here says that this year may present a rare opportunity to shape the evolution of money itself, and that we may see major adoption within central bank digital currencies this year for security settlements. I do believe that 2024 to 2026 year time frame is going to be extremely pivotal in the way that real adoption occurs within central bank digital currencies and these ecosystems. I did want to give a shout out to XX Network, Elixir, and Speakeasy this morning, which we've talked about Speakeasy before. You'll probably be seeing some more initiatives from me around Speakeasy now that they have implemented essentially admin commands, so pinning of messages, deleting of messages, muting of users, exporting and importing channel admin keys, really kind of the moderation aspects. If you're not aware, Speakeasy, you can either start a public or a private Speakeasy and really kind of have all of that message data go through MixNet with metadata shredding, all of the aspects that you will want for privacy within kind of a social hub. So definitely want to do more content around that. I also wanted to give a shout out to these guys because they had just partnered with On Finality, supporting Substrate, blockchain developers, and building Web3 future by providing key infrastructures and API services. And you can go to and check out On Finality's marketplace right here as well. And then Darren posts a really good tweet from Thomas Moser, who is a part of the eCash 2.0 initiative, David Shawm, XX Network, running through the Bank for International Settlements and the Swiss National Bank. And I'll play this for you real quick. It's informative regarding kind of the difference and separation of pain points between central bank digital currencies that are considered wholesale and central bank digital currencies that are considered retail.
So retail is more complicated than wholesale because retail CBDC would be really a new form of money that's not yet available to the public. We have banknotes, so that's central bank money available for a retail customer, but not in digital form. Retail customers currently pay with commercial bank money, and so the question really is how important will blockchain technology become for retail trade, for retail sales? And then the question is, do we have private money, commercial bank money there, stable coins, for instance, or do we need a retail CBDC? And that need is, at least at this stage, not that clear.
We see in China that they are.
All right, I want to move forward and talk about this. So I saw this announcement come out probably last week. This is WiseKey joining forces with the Hashraf Association to offer trusted NFT solutions via its Wise.art platform built on Hedera. One of the things that I noticed surrounding this wasn't necessarily this Wise.art or the NFT aspects, but if you read down through the article in here, here's what I found interesting. Not just Wise.nft, but built on Hedera, Wise ID or identification is a trusted identity service that enables access to the web and mobile applications with strong authentication techniques. Wise ID supports online KYC or know your customer onboarding, OTP and digital certificate login, et cetera, et cetera. So this wise.id, so here's wise.art. You can check out the NFT platform if you want to. You can really flesh out what this mission may actually be about. To develop a trusted, secure, multi-purpose open source engine anyone can use to build interoperable identities and crypto wallets under the user control and consent. WiseKey is working with OISTE, which I'm not going to OIST, I'll say OIST, and several blockchains to set best practices for digital identity and crypto wallet technology through collaboration on open source code. This is all about the convergence of cryptocurrency, digital assets, digital identity, and kind of setting the custody and the data management rulebook from a user standpoint around this, which I found extremely interesting because the press release is just talking about wise.art. You dig into this a little bit more, and it seems to be very much so around digital identity. And you can even look at what OIST is doing here. The human right to data privacy in the digital space. This is about a convergence of these technologies. Everything goes digital, including the way that we as citizens, globally, are custodying our own data, especially when finance is truly digitized and crypto really does go mainstream. They're tying in digital identity directly into this. If you look into, and these aren't small players, like if you look into the board of OIST, I mean, Philip Dubray, chairman, he was the president and secretary general of the World Trade Center Geneva from 1979 to 2015, president of the China Hub in Geneva, permanent representative of WTCA organizations to the United Nations in Geneva, and then secretary general of OIST is United Nations expert on cybersecurity and trust models. I mean, you can kind of run down the line here. There are extremely heavy hitters involved in all aspects of the digitization that is really going to be occurring. And I really do think that a lot of that is going to be occurring within this decade, whether that be 2024 to 2026 or 2030, when we really do start seeing kind of the green initiative stuff roll out. You can look into WiseKey for unified personal security as well. You can look at what WiseKey does at a wider lens, and it basically says that Wise ID is kind of the onboarding process into the majority of the other services that WiseKey presents. If you're not aware, WiseKey also has relationships with Casper. We just had Casper on our Twitter Spaces last night. Architecting a wiser world. WiseKey is a leading global cybersecurity company deploying large-scale digital identity ecosystems for people and objects using blockchain, AI, and Internet of Things, respecting the human as the fulcrum of the Internet. 1.5 billion microchips installed worldwide across virtually all Internet of Things markets. Computers, connected cars, switches and routers, anti-counterfeiting, drones, smart cities, power tools, mobile phones, crypto. Can really kind of see where this stuff all leads to. All right. You can see here, this is the Casper Labs partnership with WiseKey. This was back in 2021. On top of this, I know it's been talked about, but Universal Digital Payments Network for stablecoins and central bank digital currencies launches at Davos. And look at who's involved within this as well. We can see the payment network was developed in the last 2 years by decentralized cloud infrastructure company Red Date Technology, who has definitely ties into the blockchain services network out of China. Also of note, blockchain service network, I think it's the Chengdu province in China that is, Chengdu chain has been launched by Casper, just kind of a sidebar. And then IT solutions provider GFT. And then here's what's interesting, tying into potentially Hedera Hashgraph, well, definitely tying into Hedera Hashgraph, Toko and DLA Piper have kind of, they were all, definitely kind of responsible for the facilitation of this Universal Digital Payments Network, which just was announced at Davos. You can look into Toko and DLA Piper. DLA Piper has integrated the Hedera token service into its Toko tokenization platform to enhance the performance, security, and stability of enterprise-grade digital assets. Now, they get into security token offerings and all sorts of other things in here that are pretty technical if you want to go in and read through that. I'm trying to get a little bit better at verbiage when I do these videos, so it's not so that everybody can kind of get it, even people that are new here. But here's the solution. The Toko platform uses the Hedera token service to improve settlement time from minutes to seconds, reduce transactions and minting fees by over 99.98%, and enhance the end-to-end user experience for participants to drive greater adoption and retention. Toko also utilizes the Hedera consensus service to ensure transparency and trust in transactions that require privacy while meeting regulatory compliance. So definitely tied into this Universal Digital Payments Network. You can learn more about UDPN at udpn.io. You can go and read their white paper through that as well. A little bit of a sidebar here, but be very careful when you're getting emails, anything asking you to go to a link that is involving crypto. I never touch any of those emails or do any of that. And then if I do get something where I have to update my information through an exchange or whatever, I'll validate that through multiple sources before I even go on and make any changes. So just be careful what you're doing out there. Don't open emails. Don't do X, Y, and Z. Also, some interesting information coming out of Hedera. I don't know if you guys caught this, but in their 2023 peer-reviewed report, which was entitled The Energy Consumption of Proof-of-Stake Systems, UCL CBT found Hedera to be by far the most energy efficient distributed ledger technology in the market. And there's even a quote here from Dr. Paulo Tasca. Hedera's global network can function on less energy than that used by a regular household. I'll repeat that again. Hedera's global network can function on less energy than that used by a regular household. Interestingly enough, Paulo Tasca, founder and executive director of UCL CBT, co-chair CoinCom, or the Coin Committee at Hedera, co-founded Quant, the Quant Network, and former crypto economist at Bundesbank. I think that I've actually presented this guy's employment history. I found it somehow, like his full resume employment history in one of my earlier videos. He has tons of ties to tons of really large ecosystems in this space. On top of that, there was a really cool interview with Carmel from MTech. Now, if you're not aware, I've talked about MTech before. That's that Project New Dawn. So the Fed, Microsoft, MTech, and Hedera. And this is speaking on the use of Hedera for central bank digital currencies. Shout out to the HBAR Bull and the HBAR Foundation. It was a great Twitter Spaces these guys did. Cleaning up the recording, including full highlights soon, but I'll play this short snippet for you guys, or some of it.
Questions that we got during our presentation was, how come you guys are the only one who built it this way? And it was a moment for us because it was a major validation. And then just to have another central bank stand up in the room and say, guys, this is the way forward. This is the right way to build this. We're seeing this in our markets. APIs, fintechs are building with APIs. This is a new technology. This is a new way of exchanging data. And this is how we should go. So
that's fantastic. I recommend going to the HBAR Foundation, following the HBAR Bull as well. Tons of great content. Again, over the past couple of days, we see more and more confirmation that there's a gigantic shift towards digital assets, digital currencies. The way, in my opinion, they're probably going to regulate these things is same risks, same rules, same regulation to really bring them into the traditional financial system. Bank for International Settlements, I think this was yesterday, put out exploring multilateral platforms for cross-border payments. I don't think they talk Ripple in here, but I know they have crypto in here. So talking about back-end arrangements for cross-border payments. Various back-end arrangements will allow payment service providers to process cross-border payments on behalf of their customers. From the peer-to-peer standpoint, they're certainly talking about crypto assets, stablecoin arrangements, and potential central bank digital currency designs. So, and again, settlement here, examples of multilateral platform features, which is certainly what they're building out. And types of settlement include commercial bank money, central bank money, and now we see crypto or cryptocurrency being integrated into that. And kind of the thought process all along that I've tried to represent through these videos is that as soon as there is that level playing field in the financial system, and crypto can kind of interoperate within these traditional ecosystems, you're going to see a huge bolstering of liquidity to make these crypto assets a little bit less volatile. But as soon as they start using them for, whether it be because crypto is cheaper or faster or a number of different reasons, it is a snowball effect that totally is going to take over the entire financial system, in my opinion. So it will be very interesting to watch, because we've seen a gigantic rhetoric shift from these institutions over the past handful of years, meaning that, 5 years ago they were saying crypto was totally a scam, and now they're saying, man, it might disrupt the financial system totally if we don't regulate. And at the back end, they're building on this technology, and at some point they're going to sell it to the mass populace like it's the best thing since sliced bread. This also came out from the Bank for International Settlements a couple days ago. Klaus Knott, so daring to know in times of uncertainty, and pay attention to the words here, and structural shifts. The entire financial system is getting an upgrade here, obviously, with these technologies. So one of the things they talk about are risks relating to crypto assets and crypto markets differs across different countries and some economies. The most pressing concern is the potential loss of monetary sovereignty. In other economies, the risks of money laundering and fraud are perceived to be more urgent. Interestingly enough, money laundering, the most widely used unit of value that is laundered across the globe, is the United States dollar right now. And really, blockchain and DLT represents a total level of transparency that is probably going to help that problem, but obviously they still have the rhetoric in here. A second structural shift we have witnessed is the digitalization of finance. This comes in many shapes and forms, but he's talking about the rapidly developing crypto asset ecosystem. Crypto asset markets and activities bear a multitude of risks and vulnerabilities. I love when they do this. While the technologies behind crypto assets are often promoted as game-changing, the vulnerabilities associated with them, in fact, are quite similar to what we know from traditional finances. But they really do talk about kind of effective regulation because of the fact that they say right here, the Financial Stability Board is concerned crypto asset markets may soon pose a challenge to global financial stability. So get a seat at the table, because at some point in time here, these assets are going to be used on a wide scale. That's what we really talk about, kind of the utility bull run that we have not seen yet. And all of these institutions are just trying to get, number one, not tell the mass populace what's actually occurring behind the scenes, in my opinion, because they are integrating and adopting all of these initiatives. And number two, making sure that they're bolstering up their tech stacks before this stuff really goes live, so that they don't fall into irrelevance, or so that the entire traditional financial system doesn't crash. All right, EU Parliament passes Basel III rules, including crypto assets clause. This is really interesting. Basel III, there's a lot of thought process around precious metals and what that's going to do within precious metals, because it essentially mandates that these financial institutions and banks classify things like gold and silver as tier one assets, which means that they have to hold more physical on their actual books rather than just trading in derivatives or synthetics or whatever they're doing right now. And a lot of the thought process is that there may not be as much gold or silver out there that is liquid and able to actually be held than what they're presenting right now, or the way that the markets are running right now. So I'll be paying attention to silver and gold in the future, as well as crypto assets, because essentially with Basel III, you can see here on banking and capital liquidity requirements, introduce a draft legislation in a single clause relating to crypto assets, requiring €1 of balance sheet capital for €1 of every crypto asset held. Again, Office of Science and Technology Policy, building out initiatives for research and development around crypto. And then last but not least, want to get into this. So Singapore and the UK deepen cooperation on fintech and sustainable finance. Now, this is through this bridge here. Two countries agreed to the Memorandum of Understanding on the UK-Singapore FinTech Bridge on November 25th, 2022. This bridge, number one, deals with multitudes of things, but if you talk into fintech, the conversation took place within the context of an unstable cryptocurrency and blockchain technology market that represents short-term challenges and long-term opportunities. Crypto assets. In connection to crypto assets, Singapore and the UK shared a strong agreement on the need to support the safe and risk-managed development of a digital asset ecosystem. They discussed the risks and challenges that crypto assets pose to financial stability and compared to their respective progress on strengthening consumer protection rules and regulating stablecoins. Both stated their intention to continue to engage with international institutions like the FSB, et cetera, et cetera. And then they're talking e-wallets and digital banking. Again, most of this stuff at some point, you're going to see crypto assets, or at least the regulated ones, right alongside normal currency that you would normally have. I think a lot of this stuff deals in mobile phones as well from an adoption standpoint globally. You can see here the memorandum of understanding. But this stuff ties a little bit deeper, not just the UK, Singapore FinTech Bridge, New York Fed and Monetary of Singapore, this was in November again, collaborate to explore potential enhancements to cross-border payments using wholesale central bank digital currencies. If you're not aware, Mojo Loop's whole kind of value proposition is banking the unbanked. The Mojo Loop Foundation Center for Excellence for Central Bank Digital Currency was formed. This was last year, I believe. And this ties in Ripple. This ties in the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This ties in the Monetary Authority of Singapore, who we just talked about. Red Compass Labs, who I believe, wasn't that the one that was Blockchain Services Network in China that we just said? I don't know if I want to waste time looking for it, but I think it was, wasn't it? So, all right, I'll go back to that later. But so yeah, Mojo Loop. And then on top of that, you can see Darren, Fame21 More. If you don't follow Darren, I definitely recommend following him. For example, Ripple and the Monetary Authority of Singapore are currently running trials using blockchain technology to make international payments and expect to be able to reduce time to complete transfers to just a few seconds. And again, Darren, this was a hiring thing, I think. So market policy and infrastructure, finance or tech background, must have experience and interest in trading in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, or any other major cryptocurrency. This was an internship. The internship period would be for 8 weeks, November 19th to January 2020. And last but not least, the UNL list has been updated for the XRP ledger. A gigantic shout out to Aesthetes Art and the changes in the UNL. I believe Ripple only has one validator on the UNL now. And so you want to talk about decentralization. I mean, the XRP ledger is decentralized, and Aesthetes has been added in. So super shout out to Aesthetes. That was pretty cool to see. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it might have been a little bit longer, but just had a lot of content to get through. So I will talk to you guys when I talk to you. Bye.